What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Breaking Tackles, New York Giants podcast. I am your host, Antonio Reyes. What's going on, guys? I know it's been a tough week. Trust me, I am also stressed out with this team. But we got a lot to talk about, and we'll talk a little bit about we'll talk about the game, but we'll talk also about just the larger scope of things when it comes to New York Giants. And this week, I actually have a guest with me, guys. My second guest of the season. Joining me today is Greg D'Angelo. He is a moderator for probably what looks like the largest group in Facebook. It's the official New York Giants fan club page. I ran into it because I was looking for giant groups online, and this actually does look like the most official group that I saw. Greg, how are you, man? And welcome to the show.
I'm doing good, man. Thanks. Really excited to talk about this.
This nightmare,
I
huh?
guess, yeah, we call them a team, but yeah, it's a nightmare. Really excited to talk to someone about this crazy season and the future of this team. So
Right.
thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely, man. Let's talk a little bit about, what has been. Let's just talk about real quick. I just want to get your point of view on
Yeah,
the season itself. I mean, what was your expectations coming into the season? Did you think that this was gonna be a playoff team or a division contender team?
I think a large portion of the fan base
Mm-hmm.
had it in their brains that
Mm-hmm.
this was going to be a make or break season. Like we had the talent.
Absolutely.
We were paying these people like they were talented, like Bradbury,
Top players, yeah.
uh, Jackson, just a bunch of especially on the defensive side of the ball. Not even talking about Galladay or any of that, but Galladay even adds on top of that.
Right.
Yeah, I thought we had a playoff team together this year.
Yeah.
I am one of those Daniel Jones believers.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
think Daniel Jones could be the guy. He definitely showed it in the first couple games this season.
Okay.
He made some improvements, like so many improvements. Like I think he only turned the ball over 3 times in the first 4 games. I
No.
think
Yeah. No. Yeah.
one
Absolutely.
fumble, two interceptions. He looked unbelievable, and then he carried us in that last game, 400 yards, blah blah blah. But yeah, I definitely thought this could be a great season for us,
Yeah.
and like most of the fan base now, I'm pretty let down.
Right. No.
Pretty let down.
Absolutely. And to be honest, and this is and for anybody who's heard my podcast before, out of mostly from the people from Twitter, I'm not a Daniel Jones believer, but I've never knocked Daniel Jones for the fumbles or the interceptions. At the end of the day, some of those fumbles have been blindside hits on the quarterback, and
Mhm.
now defensive ends, outside linebackers, edge, whatever you want to call them, they're taught to swing at the hand. So it's
Yep.
really hard when a quarterback is about to just release a ball to hold on to a ball when you have a blindside hit. So my I want to say my problem with Jones has never been the turnovers, because I think that's
Oh,
part of the growing pains of a young QB. Let the young QB throw interceptions. Obviously you don't want him to fumble, but if he doesn't have the adequate personnel on the offensive line to help him, these kind of things will happen. My thing about Jones is just,
mm,
listen, there comes a point where you have to play above the X's and O's, where
mhm.
you have to make things happen. You have to go into that backyard football where
Yep.
Mahomes does it, Russell Wilson does it, Lamar Jackson, uh, Texans QB Watson. He's not even playing this year. All these guys, even Brady, all these guys who are elite, and I'm talking about elite now. So that's why when I see the fan base talk about Daniel Jones, they talk to him as he's going to the elite status. My problem with Jones is Jones might be a quarterback that could win games in any franchise, including this one, but he's
Yeah.
never going to be the quarterback that's going to carry your team to win games. He's not going to do what Aaron Rodgers is doing. He's not doing what all
Yep.
these other quarterbacks are doing. And that's just my problem with it, which is like, stop making Daniel Jones bigger than what he is. He might be a good quarterback, but that's it. He will never be an elite quarterback.
That's the thing too, is like it frustrates you because we took this guy with the number 6 overall.
That
Look at all
sucks.
these other look at all these other quarterbacks out there that are carrying their team. Lamar Jackson, great freaking just a great example right away. What was he
Yeah,
drafted, Lamar?
I think he was 32nd overall or something like 31st or 32nd overall. The
And he
Ravens
has
came
that
up to the first round to pick him up.
yep.
Came
And
back.
he has that X
He is the
factor. Like
most winningest quarterback at the age of 25. That's insane.
and you named off a bunch of good names like Mahomes, like all these people that if the team isn't doing that great, you still got this guy
You could still
who's
win
gonna
9
carry you.
games minimum.
Yep.
Like it's crazy, and it's you're right. It's the fact
Well,
that we drafted him at 6 that kind
yep.
of hurts.
And here's the thing, like when he had that 400-yard game and he pretty much did put the team on his back, which I give a lot of credit to Kadarius Toney too, like
Oh, he
and
went insane in that game. Yeah,
and the thing about it is though, like, and we'll go into this later on.
yeah,
I blame the coaching staff
absolutely.
for a lot of things this season, like
Oh
Tony
yeah.
not getting the ball. I don't even think Tony, without injuries, Tony wouldn't have had that game.
Oh
He
yeah.
wouldn't have even played.
Listen, let's touch base on that. I was kind of thinking about this while I was looking at the game tape for the Rams and the Giants. And guys, we're gonna get into the Rams and the Giants. Don't worry. We're giving to you guys, we're setting it all up, guys.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about, hey, listen, I think that okay, Coach Judge more than likely is going to come back next season. What's gonna change is gonna be Dave Gettleman is gonna be gone, and pray to God, Jason Garrett is gone. But
Oh my God.
I'm
Yeah.
also really confused about how he approached the season. If you remember, the Giants as a team, the starters at least, barely played this preseason because it was all this, oh, we've been practicing with other teams
Yep.
and we don't need to play in the games. Well,
Oh, but we need to play Daniel Jones
we
when
needed
we're
to
down
play
24
Daniel. Oh
points.
yeah, exactly.
You
And then
know,
we need
like
to play Daniel Jones, who just came out of a concussion, and he's playing now. What is this? Like, it makes no
that just
sense.
it makes no sense, man.
And again, and it's week 6, and I'm starting to see mistakes. Not while live, because I'm emotionally invested when the games are live. But
Yeah.
when I'm watching the games back on replay and I'm breaking down for this podcast, I
Uh-huh.
see the defense make mistakes in terms of, well, not even missed tackles. I'm talking about missed assignments. I'm talking about if the offensive team that the Giants are playing against runs motion, you better it's 90% of the time it's going to be a good play. It looks like the Giants, and this is another inference. I have no idea if this is true or not, but
Mhm.
it looks like the Giants practice with the first string offense more than they do against the scouting team. I'm talking about the Giants
Oh,
defense
yeah. Yeah.
because the Giants offense, as we know, it's Jason Garrett's scheme. Jason Garrett's calling the plays. He has zero motion. I mean, now that we have Kadarius Toney in there, we're starting to see a little bit pre-snap motion. But for the
Yep.
most part, and this is what got Jason Garrett kicked out of Dallas, is that he just wasn't running motion on any plays. He was just pretty much line up and go. He did that pretty much for the entirety of last year. You're starting to see a little bit now, but that's what it is with the problem with this defense. You start seeing them when they're going against opposing teams. And when the Rams started running more motion on them, it's game over for them. There were so
Yep.
many missed assignments. Guys didn't pick up the correct guy. Two guys on one receiver, and that really messed up everything. And it's just, I hope Judge does his whole off season, his OTAs, his training camp, and he takes a different approach because I think that what he tried this year, he tried to be creative, and it
Uh,
just didn't work out.
well, and I disagree with you on that. I hope they just clean house, honestly. I hope Judge goes to
Wow,
and
yeah?
and the thing about this is if you're gonna get rid of Gettleman, you got just oh God, get rid of Gettleman, please,
Yes.
please. I pray every day that John Mara has the decency in him to get rid of this man that has made
Amen.
so many stupid decisions over
Yep.
the past 10 years. Like, how long has he been our GM now?
For
4 years?
4 years. This is fourth
But
year
yeah,
coming in. Yeah.
unbelievable. So I want them to clean house because Judge pisses me off.
I do
Judge
too.
really, really pisses me off when he comes out, especially after this Rams game, and he says stuff like, when they ask him, why'd you play Daniel Jones in the fourth quarter? Our guys are going to come out and play 60 minutes.
Uh,
That I just am not buying it, Joe.
I,
I'm not buying it,
you
Joe.
know,
And
sometimes
then,
he says about emotion and stuff like that, and I feel like sometimes he talks with emotion and he's not composed himself. And I mentioned this before, where it's like, listen, this guy's preaching composure, he's
yep,
preaching discipline, but he lost it on the field with Kadarius Toney. When Kadarius Toney's punched that guy, he went and he screamed at Kadarius Toney's face, and I'm like, dude, you're the
lost
one
it.
that's preaching composure. You gotta
Yep,
grab your young rookie, treat him like you're his father figure type of thing. Pull him to the side, talk to him a little bit, and tell him, go to the locker room. Not scream at him, get
yeah.
the
Don't
F
make a
out,
scene.
get the F out. That was crazy, but it's true what you're saying. I am agreeing with you too. I wish the Giants would just clean house. It's not the Giants' way. The Giants' way is the reason why we're here with 5 seasons or more of mediocrity. And yeah, I just
I
don't see
love that
that.
you
I don't
say.
see that.
I love that you say the Giants way because that's what we got to get away from, and that's our problem with John Mara. He's been doing things the quote unquote Giants way, and we need someone from the outside. And that's what scares me the most is if we get rid of Gettleman and this man hires or promotes somebody from within, which he's talked about before. Mara has talked about wanting to promote from within the organization. That's not what we need right now. We need outside
Yeah,
perspective. And going back to what we were talking about on the defense, I don't know that has got to be the biggest letdown of our season. Is what was our bright point last season? The
the
defense. Like our
defense,
defense
top
was
10 defense.
shut down on the run, especially. Just
Hmm.
oh my gosh! And then Patrick Graham
Yep,
changes it up and goes with this two-man high safety
yep.
looks on like 70% of his plays,
Sometimes
leaving
even
holes.
cover one, which is insane to me.
And people after last season learned that they can't run up the middle on us. So what is everybody doing to us this season?
They're killing
They're
us.
running outside the lines.
Hmm.
Literally every time. And we don't have Blake Martinez. Blake Martinez is no Superman. Like
Yeah,
that's what people don't understand.
right.
Like we shouldn't when that's the other thing that brings me to my next point is when we lose one person on offense, on defense, on everything, whatever it is, when we lose just one piece that isn't like a superhuman piece, everything shouldn't fall apart.
Collapse,
And
exactly.
that goes to Gettleman, like
That's
not picking
Gettleman,
up
where the resources
using
were used in
yeah,
the wrong way. Exactly.
exactly.
Hmm.
Like when we lose Thomas, our offensive line becomes a line of schmucks
Hmm.
who just let like one piece, really? Oh, don't get me started on Nate Soldier.
Yep, yep. He shouldn't be on the
And
field.
then Blake Martinez comes out, and we can't defend the run on the outside of the lines. We're
Right.
doing well in the center still. I feel like we're doing okay. Not like last season, but it's crazy to me that this team has turned into a team that we lose one person who isn't, again, like a superhuman person. Like we're not losing a Patrick Mahomes of our defense. And then everything just falls apart. And then people who were performing well last season, like Bradbury,
Right.
like they're just not doing it this
And it's
season. And
funny though, I'm looking at Bradbury stuff, and yes, he is underperforming, but it's
yeah,
also mistakes on the defense where it's like,
yep,
for example, the touchdown on the Dallas game to CD Lamb. He didn't. I mean, it was cover one, so it's also, you know, it's he's one on one with his guys. Cover one, the safety over the top, he has the whole entire field, so he's not gonna get to the edge. But I'm just like, it's 3rd and 8. Why are you guys playing press man
oh my
coverage on
God,
cover
right,
one? Like,
right.
dude, what are you afraid of? A slant? A slant is not going to get you the first down. Just sit on the sticks. And it's just little things
Nope.
like that. And I agree with you. Patrick Graham, out of the nowhere, because he has a Dory Jackson now, and he knows what he has in Bradbury. He was like, oh, I'm going to
Yep.
get cute, and I'm going to play man defense,
Oh,
because
I
man
hate it.
defense is the Patriot way. Because the
Ugh.
Patriots, I think it was 2 seasons ago, they were going man, and they were killing everybody in man.
Yep.
And then the whole
Yep.
entire league was like, oh, yeah, we got to go man defense too. And it's just like, come on, man. We don't have, you clearly have to see that we do
Yep.
not have the personnel for that. And again, let's go back to what you said. This is where Dave Gettleman is large. Dave Gettleman is largely to blame about a lot of things.
Yeah, he is.
I'm not gonna. I'm not. I'm gonna be honest though. He does have some good pieces in this team, But obviously,
Yeah.
it's his fault that we're in this position again. He put too much into the interior linemen. He's
Yep.
put too much into corners, and
Hog
mind you,
mollies.
that we and he's put too much into offensive linemen. Mind
Yeah.
you, corners that we drafted in the first round are no longer in this team because this team
Nope.
didn't even give the legal system an opportunity to work itself out. So it's just crazy how the Giants, and now you can see that the Giants' clear cut weakness when you're playing a team and you're playing man coverage. The way you beat man coverage is run away from the defense. So what
Yep.
happens? How are you're gonna run away from the defense? Cool. The corners are you can't blame the corners that they're running away from the corners. You have to have the inside of the field. You have to have the personnel there that can actually pass defend. Well, our middle linebackers can't pass defend. Even if Blake Martinez was there, Blake Martinez is a run stopper, not a pass
Yep.
defender.
Exactly.
We have safeties who don't pass defend. You brought in
Who don't tackle
Peppers.
either.
You brought Peppers in. Peppers, it's a is a run safety. He's a good run blocker. I mean,
Yep.
he's a good run tackler, but he doesn't pass coverage. And you got rid of Landon Collins to bring in Peppers. That's weird.
Yep.
And
I
Landon
don't get it
Collins
either.
actually plays better run defense than Julius Peppers does. So that's
Yeah.
weird.
And
Um,
going to the comment you
Go ahead.
made about man coverage on fourth down. Like, you know how much, the percentage we're giving up fourth down conversions?
Yeah, insane, insane.
80%. 80%.
That's insane, and it's
People are converting on us on fourth
and I'm
down. Like,
sure that the situation is like fourth and short, fourth and three, four. It's less than five, I bet, in most of the situations.
and I don't get it's just I don't know what Patrick Graham and I had so much faith in Pat. Every week I'm losing more and more faith in Patrick Graham.
I
He's
am
probably
too.
my favorite on the coaching staff right now.
It feels
Patrick Graham.
very Betcher-ish what's going on right now,
Yep,
and
yep.
Betcher fooled a lot of people. He didn't fool me though. I kept telling people on my podcast and on Twitter, I was like,
Hmm.
listen, how we go from 1 year of having it was a decent defense. I think it was like top 15.
Yeah.
And then Betcher comes in, he gets rid of a whole bunch of guys like JPP, and also then has like this we're playing man coverage no matter what defense, and they completely suck. They're missing assignments, all this stuff, and everybody was like, "Oh, get rid of all the players." We got rid of all the players, and what happened the next year? Same thing happened. Betcher messed us up again, and
And
it looking like this right now, where it's like, come on, man, like, dude, just sit in zone. You just don't have the personnel for these guys.
you don't, and they don't have the skill to make the plays that you're asking them to play, which is sad
Hmm.
because we're paying them to make these plays, and they're just not.
And that's where again it's like we're wasting so much money. For example, Leonard Williams is my number one problem when it comes to this contract.
Yep.
Leonard Williams, if you don't take it doesn't need a genius to see this. I said this in 2019 where I said Leonard Williams had one of the highest QB hits out of the whole entire league. He
Yep.
didn't get sacks. Why are you going to franchise him and give him another season to improve and then hit us over the head with a contract? Just give him the
Uh,
contract because he proved that if you clean up the back seven and you clean up the defensive coverage,
uh-huh.
his QB hits are gonna turn into sacks. What happened
Yep.
the following season? His QB
Oh my
hits turned
God.
into sacks, and instead of paying him 12 to 15 million, we ended up having to pay him 20 million a year. And that's the little mistakes that are eventually gonna ruin this team. Gettleman has set this team up for failure for
Oh, big
well
time.
down the line for 2 to 3 years. And yeah,
Yeah, we're
it's
in cap
sad.
trouble now.
We're in
We're
cap.
real
We're in
big
cap
cap trouble
hell.
now.
We're in cap hell. And
Yep.
and it's
Yep.
and this is to the point where whether you like Daniel Jones or not, you can't give him a big contract, and not in this, not with this
Oh yeah.
team. So it's
That's
just
what.
crazy how bad the Giants in the situation that the Giants are right now.
Yep. Daniel Jones is gonna want. I mean, in my opinion, what he'll be asking for if again we're really that there's a lot of factors that need to fall into place. Like if Gettleman stays as our GM and he's still going with Daniel Jones as our guy, which God please don't make us have this guy as a GM for one more season, please.
Yeah, yeah.
because then he'll really put us in a hole, like a really big hole. But if we're really committing to this guy, if our coaching staff, if our GM, our new GM, hopefully is really committing to this guy,
Right.
they're gonna want to pay him over $20 million a year.
Absolutely. Yep.
20 to 30. But is Daniel Jones a 20 to $30 million a year quarterback?
To be honest,
I
not in my opinion.
They haven't. Here's the other thing though. Until that game where he threw 400 yards, we haven't had the opportunity to see. But again, that leads us back to what we started talking about at the beginning of this is if you're really the X factor, you don't need an amazing offensive line
No.
to show that you're that guy.
I'll tell you one thing though, it's gonna be fun, and even me for a Daniel Jones hater, quote unquote,
Hmm.
it's gonna be good. I can't wait to see him with a different offensive coordinator next year, because next year is what's gonna prove whether we should keep him or not, and it's gonna be really interesting. All eyes are gonna be on him. Obviously, he's gonna be playing for a contract probably,
Yeah.
and I can't wait to see. I'm already over this season, to be honest. I want to see him with a new offensive coordinator, or
Yeah.
I can't wait to the bye week to see if hopefully Jason Garrett gets fired, because Jason throughout this entire season, the Giants have been able to move the ball up and down over the field. That's not been the problem. We were ranked coming into last week. I'm not sure about now, obviously, because we only scored 11 points.
Yeah.
We were ranked 12th in yards per game. That's
Yep.
decent.
That's not bad.
That's not bad at all. But then when you're ranked almost dead last, 32nd or 31, 30, I think the Jets are only the only team that are worse than us in points scored. It's like, and if you're looking at the game, you see it. This guy, Garrett, has a spread formation. He is opening
Yep.
it up. It's a pass first team. And then when they get inside the red zone, all of a sudden they want to play the smash mouth football. It's like, dude, that's not your team. What are you
That's the
doing?
thing, yeah. Like especially with the runs up the middle with Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Look, Jason, I need you to take your eyes, close them, rub them off, please. That's not Ezekiel Elliott. That's Saquon Barkley.
That's so
Okay,
good. That's so good.
like
There's no outside runs in this team. The
I
only
can't-
outside runs are sweeps. There's no
yep.
outside zone. There's no off tackle. Everything is dives or power inside zones. And it doesn't even make sense how, like, what is everybody in, what are the players saying about, dude, we don't run any off tackle. We don't
Yep.
run anything. Like, how are the players feeling off of this? And
Galladay's got to be pissed
dude, he
because
has
they're
to
not
be,
throwing
because
down the
he's not.
field
He's
either.
not. I understand where the majority of the Giants players, they're homegrown, and they're like, you know what? Like, again, they brought in these neutered dudes because they got rid of everybody who had an attitude,
Hmm.
everybody who would talk back to coaches. They got rid of those guys. So
Yep.
I'm not sure if we have any of those guys or many of those guys in the locker room. I
No, we have
do.
ass kissers.
Exactly. And it's dudes that keep coming up to the podium and saying we need to execute better. Bro, but how are you going to execute better if the opposing team knows the plays that you're going to run better than you do? Like,
Yep, that makes
that's the
sense.
crazy part. But anyhow, let's get to this Rams nightmare of a game that was going
Okay.
on. And one thing that I want to just talk about the game real quick is the
Yeah.
Giants defense held the Rams to 0 points at the first quarter. And this has been my problem for the entire year. And again, I put
Hmm.
heavy claim on this on Garrett. You gotta let your defense play with a lead. And 3 points, unfortunately, the Giants got 3 points on this game. 3 points is not a lead. When are
Nope.
we going to give this defense 10 points, 14 points on the first quarter? Because if we see, I didn't even know this until somebody brought it up this week. The Giants haven't even given up a touchdown, I think it is, in the first quarter this year.
It
And
changes the
it's
whole dynamic of the game.
crazy.
It does. If we can get our offense to put more points on the board, it changes the whole dynamic of the game. Like that
There's,
first drive,
yeah,
when I was watching it, I was like, wow, we can win this game.
yeah,
I really said that to myself. I said, we
yep,
can win this game. The offense looks great. 3 passes to Kadarius Toney.
yep,
Devontae Booker had his first 2 carries go for like 28 yards.
yep.
I'm like,
Inside zone too, which was crazy. I was like, holy crap, we're running
unbelievable,
it right onto Donald's mouth, and Donald's getting,
right?
yeah, it's insane how things were playing out. And then Kadarius gets hurt, and that was the game right there.
That was it. Right there. We lost everything right there. And the funny thing is You
Kadarius
speak
wasn't
to the
even
main.
here though.
Yep.
Kadarius only has 2 weeks performing for us. Three
Yep.
weeks, I guess. Saints game was 3 weeks ago. I'm not sure. But it's like, what? How is
That
everything gone to smoke because Kadarius is out for the game?
I know. That kid's our X factor now. I gotta say,
He's wide receiver one.
he's unbelievable. He's
Yeah.
so fun to watch with the
Yes.
ball in his hands. You see how he broke that cornerback's ankles on that? Like I think it was either the first or second one, but he did a little spin move after he caught the ball and
Oh,
he sent
he's
that
had
Rams
two
guy
games
into the
doing that already.
sideline.
He's had two
Oh
games
my
doing
God.
that. In another game, in the Dallas game, he made
Yep.
two DBs crash into each other. It was great, but he had it right in the middle field. He almost scored on that play. He got stopped like thinking like in the 2 yard line, and then I think Jones got injured in that same drive. That's where he got
Yep.
concussed. Yeah,
Yep.
this guy is amazing. I mean, this
But
is where
I
I was like, man, Dave Gettleman has given us some. Here's the honest truth.
That was
Let's
his
be
best
honest.
move of his career. I'm sorry.
Well,
As a
and Andrew
Giants.
Thomas too. I think that those two are the best thing that he's done for the draft. Andrew
Yep.
Thomas, and there's videos out there right now where Andrew Thomas manhandled Aaron Donald,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it's just like, why you feel so good watching things like that because I
Yep.
can't remember. I don't even remember Eli having a left tackle that you could just be like, dude, you don't have to worry about your blind side. Like you're set. You're good to go.
Not
You
since
know
the Sean O'Hara, Dave Deal days.
those type of guys, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just crazy, man. And again, the continuity of this team, where hey, if our defense hasn't given up points in the first quarter, why hasn't our offense shown up? And again, it's funny because I was watching the Philadelphia game, and this is a little side note. And
Yeah.
Philly lost that game against Tampa, and
Oh yeah, what a game.
Giants Twitter was just wailing on Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is bad.
Oh
Jalen
my
Hurts is
God.
bad. Jalen Hurts at least managed to get like I think 27 points in that game. And yes, his completion percentage was garbage. But
Yeah,
what is
he's
one thing
inaccurate.
that Jalen Hurts does? He buys times for his receiver. He gets out the pocket and he makes things
Yep.
happen. So he plays above
Yep.
the X's and O's. Mind you, the offensive coordinator, the head coach for the Philadelphia Eagles, he
Yep.
sucks at play calling too. I mean, like
Yep.
the Eagles are in the same boat as us. We have terrible play callers. So worst thing about the Eagles is that's their head coach. This is our offensive coordinator. We could get rid of this guy next season. They're not gonna
It's
get rid of that coach in one season.
no. Yeah, I think Jalen. We won't get too off
Yeah,
topic here.
yeah.
Jalen Hurts is I don't know. You're gonna have to take another year for me to see how he does
He's only
because
had
he's
10 games,
very
so
inaccurate.
it's
He's very
absolutely
inaccurate.
it's okay to feel however you want about Jalen Hurts because he only has 10 games, so that's
Yeah.
cool. But
Yep.
let's go back to this game, and I'm sorry
Um.
sidetracking. But
No,
yeah,
no, you're good.
my thing is then Daniel Jones comes up in this game, and not only that, but if let's go back to the Dallas game. In the Dallas game, before he got concussed, he was just erratic, and I feel bad because I think Jason Garrett is making this kid regress.
That's the thing.
And
Yep. Yep.
this is
That's
why I'm
why we
saying
don't have a sample size of how good Daniel Jones can
and this is
be
why I
because
can't.
of
I
Garrett.
told everybody I said I'm gonna stop knocking Jones as much as I can, even though there's some things that just irk me. But
Yep.
I can't knock on him 100% because I know who his offensive coordinator is. And if you're an educated football fan, you have to understand it's more than just a player. It's the
Yep.
situation that the players are put in. And I feel like that's the problem with Daniel Jones right now. It just you can't really judge him because of
And
who's calling the plays.
yeah, and part of that situation, that game though, was again going back to what we were talking about at the beginning. He didn't have Andrew Thomas,
Mm-hmm.
and the whole offensive line fell apart. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like we can't have that. We
Yeah.
can't have it to where we have one person out of the lineup
And that's
and
it. It's cookie
everything. We
crumbles.
have nobody.
Yeah.
We have nobody. So yeah, that's why he went 0 for 6 at the beginning of that game. I think
Yeah.
is because the offensive line was just terrible. We need to put, and this goes into Daniel Jones not being the
The guy,
really
the
good
elite.
guy, the elite. Yeah,
Ooh,
exactly. That's a great word.
that's sad, man.
That's what goes into that is like if he was that elite Patrick Mahomes guy,
Yeah.
he wouldn't need what he's got. And so when you were talking about how our offense can't put points on the board for our defense, especially in this Rams game, our offense is last in the league in red zone touchdowns right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
We only get a touchdown on 41% of
We have
possessions in the
5
red zone.
touchdowns in the entire season. In 6 games, we have 5 passing touchdowns. I'm sorry, 5 passing touchdowns, and that's unacceptable. But
It's despicable.
let me go back to that actually right now. What we're talking about right
Yeah.
now. So, I think that you understand that Daniel Jones is not an elite guy, and maybe he won't be an elite guy.
Yeah.
Do you want them to bring a quarterback next year, either through the draft or through free agency? How would you want to go about that? How do you want the Giants to go about that?
No, I think Daniel has earned himself another year, which is
Yes.
crazy to
No,
say.
absolutely. But do you want them to bring competition for him next year?
No, I don't want to. It depends. It depends.
Okay.
Depends on where quarterbacks sit in the draft in my draft board.
Okay.
I don't think this next season or this next draft is a quarterback friendly draft.
I agree.
I don't
I
think.
haven't seen it. I haven't seen much of it, but I also haven't seen. I haven't heard much names. But I
I
tend to pay attention to no college sport until I'm doing like off season draft scouting.
I tell you, if we do
Mm-hmm.
end up picking in number 1 or number 2,
Right.
like let's pray for that. Which it seems like where we're going right now with the hardest schedule in
The
the
Giants are not even
league,
good at losing, though. That's the problem, though. The Giants are not good at losing. They're
right?
gonna win. They're gonna beat the Panthers probably, and then we're gonna lose other games here and there, and just we're gonna end up being like the 5th overall pick in the draft because
I
we're
don't
not
think
even
we
good at
beat the
that.
Panthers. I don't think we do. I think Matt
I don't
Rule
see
is
how we
pissed.
should beat the Panthers. Like I don't see it, but the Giants are just really bad at losing. It's just
Matt
crazy.
Matt Rule is upset. Matt
Yes.
Rule is he's upset because he got the job offering from Carolina
Yep.
and called the Giants up and
Yep.
said, "Look, I'm getting this offer. Do you
Yep.
guys still want to talk to me?" And they said, "No, we're good."
Nah. Don't even
Matt
come
Rule
here.
is Matt Rule is coming to New
I
York,
I agree
and
with
he's
that.
gonna shove it in John Mara's mouth this
Oh man, I
Sunday.
posted it that he's gonna pull out trick plays and he's gonna pull design
Oh
reverses and
man.
all. He's gonna pull things out of his you know what, and
Yep.
it's coming. But for some reason, there's some people out there thinking the Giants are gonna beat the Panthers because the Panthers don't have McCaffrey. Guess what, man? That doesn't matter. We can't score no matter what. Panthers are outscoring us at any given point without McCaffrey or with McCaffrey. Plus,
Yep.
they got the corner coming in this week who from the Patriots who has not played yet. He's gonna play this week, so it's another boost for them. I don't see how the Giants are gonna win that game either. But yeah, let's
I
go.
don't think,
Yeah,
yeah, but I don't think we get any competition. I don't think it
no
really
competition.
depends.
Cool.
Really depends on the where they're placed in the draft. If we're talking about drafting a quarterback, maybe go out and get a veteran guy.
Right.
Like I kind of like the idea of giving
Minimum.
Cam Newton a veteran minimum, but
Hmm.
that's not what he's looking for either. He don't want to come to the Giants. Cam Newton doesn't
Yeah.
want
It's funny, man.
to
What does Cam want? That's another thing too. Like Cam needs to just pick a team or whatever. But that's
He's
fine.
just,
I,
and he
I
says he has
maybe
multiple
Tyrod
people
Taylor.
talking to him.
Tyrod Taylor is backup over here.
I like Tyrod Taylor. I
Yeah,
like
I would like to
Tyrod
see
Taylor.
that. I mean, I agree with you. If don't do what you guys done before, where listen, I think the Giants wanted Herbert, but he went back to school. They ended up drafting Jones. Um,
Yep.
don't do that again. Don't even though they like Jones because Jones had like the Manning pedigree. The coach of the Mannings were the coach now of Jones. But
Yeah.
regardless of the fact, just don't do that. Don't force the hand. You don't have to pick a quarterback. Don't put that stuff on you, especially on the first round. Like, listen, just address needs. I think that again, hopefully it's not gonna be Gettleman taking for
Edge.
us. Yeah, well. To be honest, yes, edge is a big need. We have 2 first round picks in the first round. I want to see a middle linebacker being drafted in this team because it's just I don't know if there's a middle linebacker out there, but if there's by any chance if there's a Luke Kuechly out there in this
There isn't.
draft, if there isn't, then that's it. Then it is
I
what it
hate to
is.
tell you, I've done a lot of research already because I'm one of those one of those Giants fans who's looking way in the future already. And there's
So
not a
edge.
single top pick, not a single top pick. There's a guy out of Georgia, Dean, who might be a middle linebacker guy, but he's projected in the bottom of the first
So
round.
if you're gonna bring an
There,
edge here, this is my only
yep.
request. If you're gonna bring a defensive end or an edge, bring a guy
Hmm.
who's 6'5", 270. Stop giving me the same mold that has. Let's talk about the Giants outside linebackers that we have currently right now. We have O'Shane Zimenez. We have Ojolari, and then what's the other guy from Georgia? Um, what's his name?
Um, O'Shane Zimenez.
No, Ocean Jimenez,
Oh,
Ojolari, and then the other guy, Carter,
oh
Lorenzo
yeah,
Carter.
yeah, Lorenzo Carter. Yep.
They're all the exact same mold. They're speed rushers. They're not good at the run. Let's just leave it right there.
Yeah.
They can't contain. Your job as an outside linebacker on the 3-4 is you don't gotta make the tackle, but at least contain so that the run doesn't keep bouncing to the outside. Close that tackle so that he's not going in between the tackle neither. But these guys can't even do that. I need a guy like Dex. What's that guy named Lawrence from Dallas? I need like
Oh, yep.
the end that the Redskins have. I don't care that this is a 3-4. Look at JPP. He's playing
Right?
on a 3-4 right now, and
And he's
he's busting.
thriving.
Yeah, he's busting right now. So I don't want to hear the excuse that you got to get me kind of like these speed rushers. And that's the problem with Gettleman. There's too many of the same mold of this team. And that's
Yep.
where a new GM is going to come in and hopefully fix that, where we need different archetypes.
Uh what were your size things on the guy we need to pick again?
So it has to
What
be
were you
like
saying?
270. I need him to be like 270-ish.
The-
The Giants right now, we have a whole bunch of guys that are 255, 250.
Yep. The guy that I'm looking at, it's so funny you say this. You
Mm-hmm.
said 6'5", 270,
Yep.
280. Aiden Hutchinson out of Michigan, defensive end. He's already got 4.5 sacks this season, 6 tackles for a loss, a forced fumble.
Yep.
Guy's a beast. He's 6'6", 265.
There you go. There you go.
There you
That's it.
go. That's
That's
our
my guy.
guy. That's our
Yeah.
man. That's,
And don't bring that guy from Oregon. He's also the same
oh,
mold.
God, no. Yep.
I forgot his name. It's like
Kayvon
something.
Thibodeau.
Yes, he fits the mold of these guys that are currently here right now.
Yep.
He's a 250 guy. I don't need that guy here. And on top of that, I saw a film on him, and his speed is the only reason why he's killing it in the college right now. He has no technique whatsoever. I'm like, yo, you would not do that in the NFL, bro. Somebody's gonna fall for you, but I hope it's not my team.
And there's offensive linemen that I'm really looking at in the draft too, like the guy out of Alabama. Is that
You're
where
looking
he's
at
at? Yeah,
interior
out
linemen,
of
or you're looking
Alabama.
at tackles?
Offensive lineman, tackle. Yeah,
Tackle, okay.
Evan Neal, 6'7", 350 pounds. If we still have Gettleman as our GM, you already know, hog molly, baby, hog molly.
It's funny
And I would
too.
not be happy. I would not be upset about that though. This guy Evan Neal is the next
Yeah.
level of offensive lineman. So there's a bunch of picks I think
And
we
again,
can make.
I'll reiterate this. I yes, Gettleman got to go and all this stuff, but this is not Gettleman didn't give us a 1-5 team. This
Nope,
team is not a 1-5 team. So
they're not.
you got to put the blame on the coaching for that, and that's why I'm with you, man. If they kick out Gettleman, I hope they kick out the entire, then just start over, because again, it's this next year. What's gonna happen? You're gonna bring in the new GM, but he's gonna have Judge. Judge does bad one more year because again, if you're gonna the new GM, he just got the job. He's gonna try to rebuild this team over again. He's gonna try to
Yep.
create the cap. Judge is gone after next year if they have another bad season. So now the GM has to go back to step zero because he has to bring in a new guy and then do a new every. You know what I'm saying? It's the Giants are
Yep.
just they need a complete overhaul. But
I'm sick of Joe
yeah,
Judge, man. I really am. Like, I don't buy any of his bullshit any week where he
yeah,
talks about, the 60 minutes and stuff like that. It just pisses me off when he says stuff like that.
yeah.
It's like, bro, please, we're not idiots. Like, it's such a bad season.
Yeah, let's
Such a
let's
bad
wrap up.
season.
Let's wrap up Detroit because honestly, this podcast was more just our feel on the entire season and just the
Yeah.
Giant and the current state of the Giants, which is
Yeah,
great.
it was.
Let's talk about a little about this Rams game. The Giants
Okay.
go on the second quarter of the defense, and the defense is put into terrible positions.
Yep.
Um, they got first of all the Giants gave up a 81-yard total drive. It's seven
Hmm.
to three, becomes 7-3. And at that moment, when I saw that it was a second and second and 12, and I saw Stafford hit a 28-yard pass completion to where Peppers was guarding Cup. And I said it's
Yep.
over. The game is
Yep.
officially over right then and
Yep.
there because again, you didn't give the Giants points, and now the Rams are finally starting to figure out. The Rams went two possessions before they finally figured it out. On their third possession, they started running more motion and stuff like that. And again, it's like, oh well, I mean, you're not giving your defense any momentum. They're trying to set up the offense against no continuity. Then we have 28 points on the second quarter, which is insane. And anybody could go ahead and say, oh, it's the defense fault. But no, it's not because it's you can't put your defense in those positions where you have an interception and then they're starting and then they all have to do is score 14 yards. And then you have a punt, they score again. Now they're on a rhythm and it's just crazy. You just it sucks. The Giants
I'm
are
worried they're
in a
giving
real bad
up.
spot. I
I'm
listen,
worried
and
they're
that
giving up.
was and that was what people were also kind of inferencing too that
Yep.
Judge was saying, I need my team to play for 60 minutes, 60 minutes. Judge, why are you saying that in week 6, man? Like, who's clocked out
Yeah.
on you on week 6? But
Yep.
it's interesting, man. I honestly, I do want to see Judge gone, and I like Judge. I honestly, personally like Judge, but Judge is the type of coach that needs to have a good offensive coordinator and a good defensive coordinator in order for him to be a good coach. Why? Because
Yeah.
he's not calling any other sides of the field, and that's where I'm like, listen, this team needs. This is exactly what this team didn't need. This team needed either a defensive coordinator head coach or an offensive coordinator head coach where
Yep.
we could hold one side of the ball accountable. Right now, we can't hold anybody accountable because this coach is
Nope.
just relying on his coordinators, and it's just like, oh
We
man,
put this mishmash of coaching staff together, and it's really starting to come to fruition here in week 6, especially
yo, that's
after
so
that
interesting that you
horrendous
mentioned
second
that.
quarter.
Yeah, that's so interesting because even the coaching staff doesn't have continuity. How Jason Garrett plays, it's not. It's funny. I didn't even think
Yep.
about that. Where it feels like there's not even no chemistry within these coaches.
Yeah, people just focus on chemistry between the players, but
Yeah.
you got to remember, like your coaches need to get along and have similar, plans and interests, and we just don't have that, man. We like I said, I think is very well put. We have a mishmash of
Yeah.
just people that Dave Gettleman said, "You're the guy for the job. You're great. You're an awesome. You got a great track record." And
Yep.
blah blah blah. Like, great, Joe. Oh God,
Nah. Yeah.
it's a
Well,
mess. It's a
we're
mess.
coming up. We're coming up to the 45 minutes of this podcast. So we're gonna wrap it up right here, guys.
Okay.
Pretty much at the let's give some closing statements. At the end of the day, guys, you guys also saw this game. The Rams tape is just where you crumble it up and you throw it away because everything about that game was a disaster. Everything that went wrong did go wrong. On top of that, we just had so many offensive players hurt in that game. It's just like, how can we even? It's a hard game to critique. There's
Yeah.
4 turnovers on the offensive side of the ball. The defense gives up 28 points. Most of it was on short field. It's a nightmare game. I'm just over that. It's
Yeah.
so
Who the hell
funny.
is Colin Johnson, by the way?
Yeah. Listen,
Oh,
there's guys
okay.
out there that's like, what the hell?
Oh, who is this
Who's
guy? Yeah.
yeah, and it's funny because I've seen him on the field that shit a couple of times, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
man, why? Why is this guy on the field? But it is what it
Wow,
is, man.
Colin Johnson is 6'6".
Statue.
Holy cow,
He's a freaking Statue of Liberty out there. This dude's
huge.
huge, and he's made some plays too. But it's just like, come on, man. Like he's the 5th or 6th string wide receiver. It's just
Yep. When you
crazy,
look at
man.
our depth chart now, we got Gary Brightwell, a guy we drafted at running back, as a third string. Oh wait, never mind. I was looking at that wrong. I was about to say
You thought he was listed as wide receiver?
we're really dipping into the
Oh
we're
my
really
god, that would
dipping
have been
now.
sad.
But
By the
yeah,
way, Brightwell, he hasn't even gotten touches. Like, come on now. Like, how is this
I
guy?
like him.
Dude, I want to see what he could do because I heard he's a home run hitter. It's like, come
Yep.
on, it's
No,
crazy.
but yeah, this Rams game was it showed us Giants fans a lot about our team, and I think most of the fan base is that's the best part about this is the fan base is united finally, in
Yep.
being tired of this
Yep.
and being really, really just sick of this. And I hope everybody that listens to this is with us on that note
On the
that it's
same
time for some
page.
change. It's time for some change.
Absolutely. All right,
Yeah.
Greg, thank you so much for being with me on the first episode, man. I hope that we do other episodes down the line, and I hope that
Yeah.
you guys, whoever hears this podcast, absolutely enjoys it. It's on YouTube. It's a Breaking Tackles podcast. You could like, subscribe, leave comments, let us know. Comment also on Greg's Facebook group. We can go ahead and see the comments there. Go ahead on my Twitter. My Twitter is at BT Giants. If you're on Twitter, it's a different community. I hope that we can merge this Twitter and Facebook community together because it's a very different. It's the Facebook community is very calm. They're not as out there as the Twitter community, and
Hmm.
it's they're both good. It's both two different aspects, and I just got a week into the Facebook group, and I'm already liking it a lot. So
Yep.
hopefully we can merge these two groups together, and hopefully you guys like what you hear. Greg, thank you so much, man, and I appreciate you on. And hopefully we see you down the road, man.
It was great, man. I hope to do this again soon.
All right, man. Guys, for Breaking Tackles, I'm Antonio Reyes. You have yourself a great one, all right? Bye-bye.